That's my chart.
Yeah, right. So I'm thinking you probably know quite a bit about astrology.
Yes.
Are you living in London?
Sorry, what?
And you live in London, right?
I do live in London.
Do you know the Astrological Lodge? And that? Have
Yes.
you ever been? Are you a regular there or?
I do charts.
Okay, so I'm going to have to say something that you don't know, right? Right. I'm going to start now then.
That's it.
Right. So everybody needs to be quiet until about half an hour. When it's finished, we can ask questions. Okay, great. Chris knows a lot about astrology, and I just thought I'd say a few things about his chart initially, and then I'll check with you, Chris, to see how it's going and see if
Yeah.
it's accurate. I think that there's kind of two themes in the chart. First of all, you're a kind of really sensitive guy with a very powerful intuition. And I'm sure you're very empathetic and that's the one side of it. And then you got this Scorpio rising with Mars in Aries. So I'm sure you're also incredibly kind of dynamic. You don't mind speaking your mind and you like to decide for yourself what's going to happen. One of the things that I found interesting in your chart was that you have the nodes of the moon on the MCIC axis. That reminded me of Donald Trump, actually. He has the north node in the 10th and the south node in the 4th. The nodes are often connected with a kind of channel or a connection between one and the other.
Trump.
I am not comparing because he's got the north node in the 10th and it's a conjunction of the sun. So it's kind of expanded his ego a lot, right?
Yeah.
But this kind of connection, I'm thinking for you, it's different. Trump came down a golden escalator to announce his presidency. That's this kind of channel. You have a different kind of channel, more like a purity channel. Life for you has been about filtering experiences so things become pure. When you have so much in Pisces in the 4th house, there's lots of disturbing influences, lots of things that can be, polluting the environment that you'd be sensitive to. So the North Node and Saturn, I see as a kind of filter mechanism. That's the life story. You're filtering impurities and trying to get a pure life. Now, that's a very abstract thing to say, but I thought I'd start with that.
It's a good insight.
Yeah, I don't know whether to jump right into the challenge right now. I think it's a good idea because you've had Saturn come through the 4th house and conjunction the Sun and conjunction Mercury and its retrograde. It's still really close to the Sun. And the second thing is that you have Neptune transit exactly on your Mercury. So this Mercury-Saturn opposition is very dominant and very important right now. So whatever you're dealing with right now is activated. It's the Mercury-Saturn that's activated, and Neptune and Saturn transits is really making it an important thing. So what I think is going on, I think that it's kind of likely that, there's a lot of emotion in your life right now. You're overwhelmed in many ways by emotional input that's difficult to handle, but you're doing it extremely well. You're very good at containing a lot of emotions. And that's what you're doing right now. You're containing a lot of emotions extremely well. And on one level, that's going to be quite good for your spiritual life. I think there's a painful process going on because of the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune on your Mercury. So I think you've been through this kind of difficult period of a couple of years. Maybe it's to do with your age because you're 74. You might be wondering what to do. But what's actually going to happen is that a very dynamic period is starting. After a couple of years of being confused about what to do, the coming period is going to be like taking initiatives. It's going to be like activating the Mars in your horoscope, the traditional ruler of Scorpio. So you're moving now and you're in a transition from a kind of passive, deeply emotional state, which you're handling well, but there may be some sorrows involved. You're moving to an outgoing period, which is going to start.
Difficult time.
Yeah, what is it that's been difficult?
I've just had a very bad cold.
Me too, actually.
My current state has made the cold a lot worse than it was.
What is your current state?
My current state is really not knowing what to do with my life from this point on. Hoping I'll feel more dynamic. Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm absolutely no doubt that a dynamic period is coming. So we'll get to that in a minute. So what to do with your life. And then I think about, you have this incredible opposition between Jupiter and Saturn, which the kind of sun is sitting on, right? And I don't know, you can't have a Sun Jupiter opposite Saturn without making some professional impact. I would imagine you'd have a reasonably successful career. Is that
Yes.
true? Well, what did you do?
Oh, I've been a teacher until I retired about 10 years ago. I
A
worked with,
teacher of people, kids?
yeah, I worked with difficult kids doing home tuition, with kids that were excluded from school and were disaffected. And I had to get them learning again and get them back into
Right.
school.
What
And
age were these?
these were between 11 and 18.
So you work with kids who have mental difficulties in school, and
Yeah.
you try to get them back on track. So to speak. Yeah. What do you think that is in your horoscope with the kids?
In the horoscope,
Yeah.
Jupiter in Pisces gives me empathy and desire to help. And
Mm.
Venus in the fifth, I seem to get on with kids in an easy sort of way and a bit of an effortless way in some ways.
I think the difficult kids is the Mercury Saturn opposition, right? So Mercury's in the fourth opposite Saturn. That looks really like a home tuition of difficult kids, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I worked in school before that in ordinary secondary schools, and I worked after as a supply teacher, and now I'm still
Mm.
doing invigilation, very, very part time. I no longer like getting up early in the morning, and so I
Oh
managed
dear.
to
Yeah.
get an afternoon job.
Okay. And how did you get into astrology?
Well, that was back in 72. It's a very
Mm.
long time ago. I picked up a book when I was going abroad with some friends, something to read, and started doing charts there and then. And basically did lots and lots of charts.
What do you think shows the talent for astrology?
Talent for astrology, Moon close to Uranus,
Yeah,
gave me a strong feeling for it.
yeah, yeah,
And I suppose the intuition of Mercury in Pisces,
yeah.
then and
There is
Saturn in
another little
Virgo,
factor
dealing
actually,
with
which is,
detail.
yeah, I thought maybe you'd be a bit pedantic, really into the rules. Do you do traditional astrology?
Not really, no. No,
So the rules is not a big thing then.
I find that traditional astrology, I'm not really that involved with it. I do know other people who are, but I prefer to stick to a sort of middle way with astrology.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I like doing consultation charts, which is like I've done one for the moment we talked.
Uh-huh.
And the chart on the right here is the consultation chart on the left, your
Yes.
birth chart. And do you notice anything special about that?
Well, I do. I see Moon in Taurus on the ascendant.
Well, that's true. So it's a repeat of the moon Uranus conjunction.
Yes.
There's another thing too. Your ascendant's 25 Scorpio, right?
Yes.
And the ascendant here is 25 Taurus.
Amazing.
So that's the consultation chart. You can use it to predict what's going to happen. It's the best prediction tool. Okay,
Yeah.
groovy. And you can also see, that you actually got this Jupiter-Saturn opposition, and there's a Jupiter-Saturn trine, and today. So that looks quite good for working within the system. I always think that Jupiter-Saturn is good for working within the system. Of course, now what's been going on recently is that Neptune has activated your Sun Moon square. That is a period when you kind of ask yourself what life's all about. Like, what's the point of life, or what's the meaning? I'm going to die within 20 years, probably. Who knows? So, what's the meaning of it all? And I think when you have a Sun Jupiter in Pisces, you're really always striving to find meaning in chaos.
Yes.
How have you been dealing with that period of existential confusion?
Feeling very uncomfortable with it, really.
What does that mean exactly? Uncomfortable. Is that why you're not getting up in the morning?
Yes. At the moment, I'm hiding away a bit. I read a tremendous amount, watch a hell of a lot of telly, do a certain amount of socializing, but I was always a very sociable guy, zipping around, seeing people. But at the moment, I find it more difficult to socialize and get to feeling very uncomfortable very quickly.
Yeah. Well, I think, there's nothing like sitting down in front of the TV at home, is there?
And I wonder, obviously with astrology, I used to see a lot of people, but these days I don't see so many people. I've got issues about what to do with my practice, you know.
So I think you'd better do something about that. I mean, looking at the horary or the consultation chart, it's quite extraordinary. You can see that in the birth chart, Jupiter is about 3 degrees from the IC, and
Yeah.
in the horary, Jupiter is about 1 degree from the IC. Jupiter's right on the IC, and I think that shows that the home is really a safe haven for you, and it's nice to be in the home. The moon is in the 12th in this consultation chart, so you are feeling more isolated, and you kind of enjoy it. You kind of enjoy the isolation. But the
Yeah.
moon is moving, right? It's going to be moving and joining Uranus. And it's also going to sextile Jupiter. And this is beautiful, in a way, this moon in Taurus sextile Jupiter is
Yes.
absolutely a lovely aspect.
Fantastic.
And it shows something really nice about your home and family life. You don't have to socialize with that. It's very
No,
good.
I do have a nice life.
I was thinking, do you have a nice home? Like you got a house or a flat in London?
Sorry?
Do you have a house or a flat in London?
I don't
Where
know.
do you live in London? Is it a
Oh, in
house?
Muswell Hill.
Yeah. Muswell Hill.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a nice
Oh,
area. Yeah.
yeah, lovely area. I lived
Yeah.
in Muswell Hill once. Dukes Avenue. Do you know Dukes Avenue?
I know it well.
Oh, well, I lived there
Did you?
for a couple of years in 1999 to 2000. Yeah. Oh,
All
well,
right.
that's a nice area. Do you have a house?
I rent a flat.
You rent a flat.
Yeah. Most
Yeah.
people down my street own their 1.7 million pound houses.
Oh, I thought you might own a nice big home
No, I've
mansion.
got no money at all.
Okay, that's a pity. All right.
No.
Well, you've got happiness, I think. I mean, I know
Yes.
you're confused, but this is a kind of happy horoscope. But there's one thing I need to check because, I'm not very good at fixed stars, but, this thing with 25 degrees Taurus, which is on the ascendant with the consultation chart and on the
Yeah.
descendant in your birth chart, so it's on Algol, Are you familiar with the star Algol?
Sorry?
Are you familiar with the fixed star
Fixed
Algol?
stars, yes. Yes. I think it
Yeah,
might be Algol, that one.
yeah, it is Algol. Yeah. So, and normally that would show something a bit emotionally overwhelming, right? But is that how we are at the moment? Are you emotionally overwhelmed or not?
No, I'm not
No.
emotionally overwhelmed.
No, okay.
It's been a very busy time the last few days. I had an old laptop that was Windows 10. I've got a Windows 11 and I'm trying to set it up so I can install my old program onto it for doing astrology.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's a good thing for you to get into this kind of hard work with Saturn on your Mercury. It's a lot of challenges right now in that respect.
Yes,
Okay, but you said earlier that it was a kind of difficult period because you didn't know exactly, what to do or where life
that's
was
right.
going. Yeah.
That's right.
Can you expand on that?
Well, I suppose it's partly about, I mean, I do meditation regularly, but I'm feeling maybe I shouldn't just carry on my own. I should maybe join some sort of group. And I'm thinking about how maybe I could find some alternative way of earning money. There's not very much work at all. It's just like the odd afternoon here and there. But I find that really, really dull. And
Actually, I don't know what invigilation is. What is it?
exam invigilation, where you're there keeping an eye on the students, for
Oh,
the
I see.
length of the exam.
Okay,
In a
that's
big,
good.
big sports hall.
Okay.
I'm
I'm
being an
not sure about the money
ex-teacher.
earning thing at the moment. I don't see how that's going to develop. I think you probably got a comfortable money situation. You wouldn't agree?
Not really.
Because Mercury and Jupiter, I think that
Yes.
it's like steady, firm. You're not going to lose money. You're not going to
No.
make a lot of money. That's what I was figuring. The meditation then, so how do you do that? How do you practice?
Well, every night I sit and see what comes up. Sometimes I listen to various healing sounds or other developmental things loaded onto my phone. But I suppose I've always had a strong interest in spiritual
I'm thinking, yeah. Do you have any kind of teacher or
No,
guide?
I used to be involved years ago in Tibetan Buddhism,
And you gave
but
it
I
up or what?
I sort of went off on my own. Yeah, I'm
Well, I
not
think
a
it's good
bit
to.
in some way, you know,
I
like
think
too
you
much
should be in a
pressure.
group. You need to be in a spiritual group. The next step is to do that. The reason I think that is because the moon is in the 12th house, which is quite good for the spirituality. Sextile Jupiter, they're both kind of exalted. It's really shows a pretty good, spiritual grounding.
Yeah,
And then the moon moves sextile Saturn, which rules the 11th house, and Saturn's kind of on the 12th house. It's a spiritual group. So within a few months, like 2 or 3 months, it would be really good to join up with a spiritual group, some well-established group. That
yeah,
must be quite a few groups
yeah.
in North London.
Can I ask you something about the chart, Adrian?
Yeah, please.
One of the problems I've had historically over the last few years is because of house systems. If I put my chart into equal house, it
Ah.
makes rather a difference. I don't like the fact that I've got a choice. I'd like it to just use Placidus,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Equal house puts Saturn in the 11th, and it puts Mars in the 5th, and the Sun trine ascendant. It's sort of like a fifth house sun as well as a fourth house sun. It
Become
bothers me.
the fifth, and Mars and Venus would probably go in the sixth or something.
Yeah,
The thing about equal house is that it kind of works because it resonates with the houses and the sun, and so it's going to have a strong resonance. But
yeah,
in astrology, the 2 points we really know about is the ascendant and the MC. We really know where they are. So instead of having them floating, which the whole zone house system and the equal house system does, it would seem a little silly, because you can see the sun rises and the sun sets. Those have got to be the defining points in the chart. I wouldn't worry about that. When you're dealing with progressions, you're going to have significant things. For example, if your birth time's correct, at the age of 10, approximately, this Mercury Saturn's going to kick in. Do you remember what happened then?
well, at age
Yeah,
10,
yeah, 10, 11.
yes, when at age 10, rather keen on the girl next door.
And
Was worried. I liked her a lot, but I don't think she felt the same way about me.
well, did you say anything?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then
And
what?
she said, "Oh, I don't love you. I like you."
So
But
you
what
still
wasn't
remember that, right?
what wasn't good I was turning my friends away and spending all my time with her. There was something going on in my family. My brother, 3 years younger than me, was extremely ill over a long period. I was escaping next door because the reality of my life was depressing at the time because my brother was so ill. My parents were very focused on him. I had another younger brother as well, and that brother died when I was 13. He was ill for about 5 years.
Yeah. So, that is, sorry to hear that, but that is the kind of the emphasis on the Mercury Saturn, which gets triggered at age 10 because
Yeah,
the fourth house cusp moves over it. The girl next door is Venus, right? You're the ascendant ruler, Mars, and Venus is the girl next door. Both in the same
yeah.
sign, so she's kind of closer. Don't we have the same thing happening today? Venus is in the same sign as Mars, so they're going to meet. So I don't know. I would have thought that you'd have been quite the amorous guy with the
Yeah,
Scorpio rising. Is that true?
I've
Like
always
you.
an amorous guy.
So I don't think the girls could really resist because Mars rules Aries and Venus is in its own territory, so to speak.
Yeah.
In Mars's territory, right? So you pretty much decide who. I'm surprised the girl next door didn't want you.
Well, I suppose she did really. It was a
Oh,
passing
okay, yeah.
phase.
Okay, well, Chris, do you have any specific questions I can answer? Also about the future, if you like.
I often feel that maybe I'm on the wrong path when it comes to money and career, really. That I feel as if I still have a career ahead of me. rather than just focusing on my home life. But it causes me
Yeah,
a lot of doubt.
really. I just don't see that now because I think this is a new phase in your life, basically, which is great, but I think it's more outgoing socially. And I think because of the consultation chart, everything's kind of constellated with the MCIC axis. You've got Saturn is 25 degrees, MC is 25, Jupiter is 24, etc. The moon's going to activate that. This looks like really settled. If you wanted more career success, I'm sure you could get it because if this was a young guy, it would be really good for success. But it seems to me you actually enjoy the peace and quiet of being at home and doing your thing.
Yeah.
So you haven't done your thing, basically. Teaching difficult kids is kind of hard.
I've had enough of it all, really, all that teaching, But I suppose another thing that preoccupies me a lot is finding which artistic direction to go in. I do a bit of painting, I play a little bit of music, I do a bit of writing, but I can't do them all, or I could do them all, but I suppose it's knowing what does the chart point to more, sort of writing, painting, or music,
It's easy for me to say, because obviously you're a bit of a multi-talent in that area. Music just looks great to me because of the Pisces influence. Of course, film is also a great area to lose yourself in. So watching Netflix is another area, So it would be better for you to have a more disciplined spiritual practice because of the moon, sextile Saturn in the consultation chart. That would help a lot, but you should still enjoy life. It looks like a really laid-back situation for you, basically.
Oh, no, I'm watching Adrian. You can, yeah.
Chris, I think we're going to wrap up. Have you got any more questions? Do you have any more?
No.
Okay.
You said some hopeful things.
Yeah, right. It was a little vague, but it was fun. It's a very nice situation, I think you're in, really.
I admire what you're doing here.
Okay, well, thanks very much.
To do a live reading online is quite something.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, great. I'm going to check the chat. You can hang around if you like, Chris. I'm just going to see if there's any questions. I'm really... Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, somebody here writes about thinking that you actually had some kind of relationship break, Chris, or some death in family or something you're mourning. I thought the same, actually, but you didn't seem to have anything. No. Have you lost anything, anybody?
What does someone think?
There had been a relationship break or a loss. You might be... I thought that. Right. So, Chris, we're back on this question, actually. Have you had any loss recently?
Sorry? You have to speak up.
Have you had any loss recently?
Any loss recently?
Yeah, have you lost any pets or a relative or...
A friend of mine died a few months ago, which was upsetting, but, it's not overwhelming in any way.
No, okay. All right, so I'm still open for questions. If anybody's got a question, feel free to unmute yourself and ask.
I would like to know about the kite in this chart.
Yeah, so Sherry's asking about the kite in the consultation chart, right? Well, it's hugely powerful. I think kites tend to point to the moon in this. So it's the moon in Taurus in the 12th. The moon in Taurus is beautiful. It's this kite involves Jupiter and Saturn, right? So it's very stable, but because it's in the 12th, it's kind of isolated. If the consultation chart, the person has moon in the 12th, they're always alone in one way or another. So that's why Chris is kind of feeling he should be more connected to people. But actually, the connection, if it's going to make them, it's going to be to Jupiter or it's going to be to Saturn. And, if it's to Saturn, it's more like a spiritual community. So it's not very outgoing. Thanks for the question. Great. Any more questions?
Yeah, this is Robin. Can you talk about Venus in the 7th house? Venus being the ruler of the chart.
I ignored that. It's true, and I shouldn't have, because it's Venus rules the chart. It's in Sagittarius in the seventh. So what's going on there? And I never got to find out with Chris. It's really outgoing. I'm pretty sure that this period, it's a paradox. The moon in the 12th is a little isolated, but the ascendant ruler in Sagittarius just moved into Sagittarius. It wants to get out and meet people. It's just that Venus doesn't make many aspects. If we look at the progress chart, his progress moon is going from Pisces, where for 2.5 years it's been in Pisces. It's a bit like the Neptune transit over the Pisces planet. And now it's coming into Aries. It's just moved in. November, December, it is a turning point where it becomes more outgoing. That would be my answer to that question about Venus.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm looking at that progressed moon, and it looks like Saturn is following it. So he's got the transit Saturn and the progressed moon. That's going to be a downer and make you feel lonely. I think he probably misses that friend more than he lets on, because Scorpio rising doesn't always like to let on that they're missing somebody.
No, it sounds logical. What do you say, Chris?
There's something in that. Yes, there is a friend I'm missing. Someone I don't see so much of that used to have a very big part in my life. But he's still there. A friend, you know.
Yeah,
he just
well, it
lives
could
outside.
be that it could be there's a future in that respect, because the moon is going to conjoin Jupiter, progress. Jupiter rules the 11th house, progress, but I'm not sure how much you can trust that. What I'd like to see, if it was going to be more friends in his life, I'd like to see the ascendant ruler and Saturn making a kind of, aspect of, or the moon and Saturn making an aspect. But because Saturn's in Pisces on the 12th, it still seems a bit like a spiritual community. Any more questions?
So can you talk about the moon phase in the progress chart? That phase is a difficult phase. The feelings.
It could be. I mean, maybe that's the whole feeling of a cycle of life ending, because it's going to take about 7 years before the moon comes to a progressed new moon. Right now it's in this phase, which is prior to the last phase, if you take 8 phases of the moon. I suspect that it's all kind of confirming the idea that it's a part of life where it's more internal development and spiritual development, which is important. That's just what I guess. Yeah, nice question. Any more?
That Jupiter on the consultation chart,
Yeah,
being the nadir, I wondered if he had thought of relocating.
we can ask him. But the thing is, the fourth house has just passed over Jupiter. In other words, it's something that's happened in the past. If Jupiter was in 26 or 27 degrees, the IC would hit Jupiter. And then you could talk about some good proper home development.
I
but
see.
once
I
the
see.
IC's...
I see, but I meant, had he thought of it?
Okay, well, let's ask Chris, have you thought of moving?
Have I what?
Thought of moving from your flat in Muswell Hill? Are you happy there, or have you thought of moving?
Oh, yes, I've thought about it, but it's a bit unlikely at the moment. It's not really on the cards at all. Yeah.
No, I don't think he would move, because it looks good already, and the moon is in Taurus and sextile Jupiter. It just looks good already. That's what I think. Okay, any more questions? Thanks for bringing up the consultation chart. It's so accurate. It's the way
amazing,
to answer
isn't it?
questions. Yeah. Any more questions before I wrap up? Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up and put the YouTube of this online so you can have another look at it, Chris. Thanks very much for participating. I really appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Adrian.
Okay.
It's been
Bye.
really,
okay, that's good.
And thanks everyone else for questions.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
All right then.
Bye.